to a little discussion about the playoffs. Now, last week we did our kind of predictions on what we think is going to happen. Now it's been very narrowed down in terms of the number of teams that still have a chance at the playoffs. So we're going to talk about these real quick. We'll start off with the NFC because it's easier. The Packers, Seahawks, and Lions can all still make it. Here's what it takes for each one to win. The Packers have to win against the Lions, and that's it for them. The Seahawks have to win against the Rams and have the Packers lose to the Lions. The Lions have to win against the Packers and have the Seahawks lose to the Rams. So the only team of these three that can make it without needing help from an outside game is the Packers. If they beat the Lions, they make the playoffs because they have the tiebreaker against the Seahawks. So if the Seahawks win their game and the Packers win, Packers get it. If the Seahawks win and the Lions win, the Seahawks get it because they beat Lions earlier in the season. And if the Seahawks lose and the Lions win, the Lions are in. So kind of a little triangle here with which team can go which way. But who do you think is taking this, Gian? Which of these three teams do you think is taking the last wildcard spot for the NFC?
This is tough because I would argue Seattle's got a favorable matchup. Let's see, who's Seattle playing? Because I know the Lions are playing the Rams. Okay, so Seattle's got a semi-favorable matchup. I'm praying that Baker Mayfield sauces the Seahawks. Sauces the Seahawks.
Me too. I need some of that the Rams MVP Baker Mayfield. Let's go. 51 points.
MVP Baker. Yeah, no. This is what because the Rams defense is rather they're seeming to get back on track with things, although not entirely because the Chargers did defeat the Rams at home. The more probable thing here is the Seahawks win out and just eliminate both the Packers and the Lions. I would love to see the Lions win out against the Packers, but in all honesty, if the Seahawks do end up losing, that game is a complete toss-up. I want the Lions to win, but I think the Packers are going to make the playoffs. That Lions secondary is still just not that good. But the Lions do have heart. They have grit. They're easily the grittiest team there is in the field. Honestly, it's a toss-up for all of them. Do I have to pick one? Because if I do, I'd say the Packers is the more obvious choice on paper.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with the Packers just because I feel like I really want the Seahawks to lose because I'd rather see the Lions or the Packers make it than the Seahawks. And so I want the Seahawks to lose, and then we have the Packers-Lions game, and we're watching that thinking whoever wins makes the playoffs, rather than it doesn't matter who wins because either the Packers make it or the Seahawks make it, so the Lions are already done. So I want the Seahawks to lose. I think the Packers, just because they have a cleaner path, and I think that they're a more complete team than the Lions, so I think they probably make it. But I think the Seahawks probably win out against the Rams. I mean, I really hope they don't because I'd like to have the Lions at least have a chance. But that's what I think is going to happen. I don't know. It's tough because these are all kind of three teams that are pretty even, honestly, I think. All the times these teams have played, it's been very close games. You know, the Lions-Seahawks game was close. The Packers-Lions games have been close. So we'll see. I mean, we'll find out next week. But my bet is the Packers, but my hope is the Lions. What about you, Frank? Who do you think is making it between these teams?
Yeah, I think that the Packers are going to take it. I just don't see the Lions coming up with something successful. They beat the Packers, I think, back in week 8, 15-6. But I think that LaFleur and Rodgers have proven that they have a good track record when it comes to getting to the playoffs, at least. Now, once they're in the playoffs, that's a little bit of a different story. But, I think that the Packers are going to get in. I think the Seahawks will probably beat the Rams, but that doesn't really matter if the Packers win. And I think the Packers will take matters into their own hands and take the dub. So.
Cool. So we're all in agreement there. Let's move on to the AFC. So currently in the hunt still is the Patriots, Dolphins, Steelers, Jaguars, and Titans. A lot of teams. For starters, it is Jaguars versus Titans for the division title. I think Jaguars take that handsomely. I think we all agree there. Interrupt me if I'm wrong, but I think we all agree Jaguars are going to beat the Titans and take that and make the playoffs with the 4th seed. So it comes down to Patriots, Dolphins, and Steelers, which is very tough because none of these teams have particularly free matchups this week, given the status of their season. So I don't really know. The Dolphins play the Jets, which the Jets suck right now, but the Dolphins are also hurt. The Steelers play the Browns, which Browns aren't that good, but they're coming off a win, as are the Steelers. But it's also a divisional game, so those are always toss-ups. So you don't really know what's going to happen there. And then it is the Patriots and Bills, I believe, is the Patriots game this week. Those all seem like games that they could all lose. And so I don't really know what happens. I feel like one of these teams is going to win one of them, and that's what's going to end up taking the spot. I don't feel like they all lose, and then we just see who ends up having the tiebreaker of the worst teams, which I think gives Patriots the edge. I think they currently have that because of the strength of schedule tiebreaker. But what do you guys think happens here? We obviously all think Jaguars are going to win, but who do you think takes that last wild card seed? I think it's going to be the Steelers, honestly. I think the Steelers win their game, and I think that the Patriots and Dolphins probably both lose. But what about you guys?
I'm going to say that the Steelers are going to lose because I think the Browns have this weird thing going on where they win. I think you said this last week, Ethan, but about one of the teams we were talking about. But they kind of just win games that don't really matter, and have a penchant for doing that. So, earlier in the season would have been nice if they could have won a few more games that did matter. But I see them, winning this. Unfortunately, I think that Deshaun Watson and Amari Cooper's connection has really been improving. Last week we kind of saw that, and this week, hopefully we'll see it more. This is really a chance for Deshaun Watson to show that he was worth 4 first-round picks. I think that the Jags are going to take it. I think the Jags are going to win against the Titans, and I think that everything's kind of going to go their way in order for them to get into the that last spot. I think they're kind of the Lions of the AFC, where it's just kind of a feel-good story, and the NFL kind of likes those marketing things where it's like, ooh, the hot, young team with Trevor Lawrence, made it to the playoffs. So that's good for marketing, I think, and I think that they'll make that.
All right. What about you, Gian? Who do you think takes it?
This is tough. I mean, Miami doesn't have any of their starting quarterbacks. I mean, Tua looks like he's still not going to play due to the concussion. Teddy Bridgewater injured his finger last game, and then Skylar Thompson, our third string, had to come in. I'm not too sure about the Dolphins, especially with that robust Jets defense. And then again, like Frank said, the Browns, I think the Browns might actually have a chance at this playoff fixture. I'm not too sure because they're 7-9. If they win, they'll go 8-9. Miami loses, they'll go 8-9, and if the Patriots lose, they'll go 8-9, and so will the Steelers.
The Browns are out. They're
not
out. Making it.
They're not making it. Oh, okay, then,
it's between Patriots, Dolphins, and Steelers for that wild card spot.
Dang.
And I mean, potentially,
I
Jaguars could lose against the Titans and make that wild card spot, but I don't think they lose against the Titans, so we'll ignore that.
Yeah,
factor.
I don't see the Jaguars losing against the Titans. I think Trevor Lawrence is on the hottest streak of his life. He's going to flame the Titans, but I mean, this is an absolute toss-up. I mean, who wins if all 3 teams lose?
I think
that's
honestly, that's the Patriots, I believe, because it's kind of phrased weirdly, but Patriots would have the edge over Miami, and then Pittsburgh has a worse conference record, and so that makes the Patriots have that tiebreaker. So that's why I kind of think it might be the Patriots, because I think they might all lose this game. But the Steelers looked good last week, man. I mean, they didn't score a ton of points, but Kenny Pickett on that last drive was slinging some ball. He was seeding his receivers, just an absolute, just threw that seed right to him. Perfect perfect balls, I think they might take it. And I don't think they win a playoff game, but I think the Steelers can go, make it in and play the Bengals or the Bills in the first round and, take their honorable exit from the 2022-2023 NFL season.
Yeah, I mean, here we go. We always talk about this. Mike Tomlin never has a losing season, so
I've been saying it, man.
I'll hop on that train with you, Ethan. I think it might be the Steelers.
Awesome. So we I think we're pretty consensus there. But that's it for the playoffs team. Next week we will have our official playoff matchups, and we'll be talking about that predictions as opposed to who we think's going to make it. So we'll go and move on.